Hey everyone, and welcome to 121 in Flux. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we talk about movies on this show. Older movies specifically. Although this one's not that old because it's tying into something that's about to come out soon. We are going to be talking about the 2009 animated Wonder Woman film, directed by Lauren Montgomery. This was part of. It's actually really funny to think that this DC animated movie kind of line has been going now for 10 years, but it has. It started in 2007.
Really?
Yeah. Still feels like a relatively new thing, but it's been
It's
10
it's because
years.
they did, to be fair, they did Flashpoint, and then they went into the next they did the new 52S universe, and it kind of.
Which, funnily, is when it got shit. It's funny how that lined up. It's not even like it's got the same problems as what New 52 did in the comics, but somehow, they, for the most part, not entirely, but for the most part, they've been weaker since
Yes.
then. Interesting. So yeah, we're going to talk about this. There's been no live action Wonder Woman movie before now, so we're doing the animated one, and we thought this would be funny to revisit it. I remembered liking this one, but obviously, as we always do, we'll start spoiler free, and if there's any spoilers we want to go into, we will later on, and we'll give you a warning before we do. So I assume you like this one too.
Yeah. I had memories of this being one of the better ones of the time period.
That sounds like there's going to be a but.
I don't think it quite holds up as much as it did in my memory, but it's still very good.
Yeah, this is basically just a typical Wonder Woman origin movie. Like it,
Yeah.
you set up with Mascara and like her surrounding characters, and you have Steve Land, and we go from there. She has to come back. Ares is causing chaos, trying to like take over the world and whatever else he does, and she stops him. And I mean, I don't know if this is the spoiler-free section, but spoiler: good character wins and beats the bad guy at the end. I mean,
Yeah.
if that's a spoiler, then you've not watched a lot of superhero stories up until now. Yeah, that's the gist of the movie. Do you know what the other thing I feel has changed as well since like post Flashpoint? Not entirely, but for the most part, I feel like the casting has not been as impressive. I feel like like back in these days, I feel like I looked at the cast list and went, "Oh, there's like 5 names on there I recognize and know from live action stuff." For example, here we have Keri Russell playing Wonder Woman. We have Nathan Fillion playing Steve Trevor. We have Alfred Molina playing Ares. We have Rosario Dawson playing Artemis. This is Oliver Platt's
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
Hades. This is pretty meaty cast.
I think the difference is at this point in the universe they were kind of going right. Let's cast on a per movie basis, so it rotated through a lot. Yeah, once it got to that New 52 time period, they kind of just went right. You're doing Batman for the next 10 films, and
Yeah,
so they got a lower tier name.
I like
So
how you
to
picked
speak,
Batman because he's the one that I think's a bad choice for the recent movies.
and that's fine. I'm just that most of them have kind of had right. That's
Actually, same as
this person's
Superman.
doing.
I don't like the voice actor for either Batman or Superman in the newer movies.
That's fair.
Yeah. For the ones that's got obviously sometimes they use Kevin Conroy depending on the movie, and obviously I like him. But
Yeah,
when they're
obviously.
picking the regular dude that they've had for the other ones, not so much. But nah, so it's got a good cast. So they're recognisable voices, and I do recognise most of them. Tara Strong isn't as well as a minor character. I'm just pointing that out because she
Because
pops
she's
up in
got to be
everything.
there somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's an enjoyable movie. I think I'd forgotten like some of the elements of like how it was like because obviously you expect like gender roles to come up and you expect like sort of a feminist angle on it, and I'd forgotten how it tackled that.
Yeah, it's very blunt
It's
and
very
heavy-handed with its messaging.
it is to the point where it almost does a disservice to Steve, where they actually give Steve lines. Because when he lands in Themyscira, he like sees like a couple of like Amazons bathing in a pool, and he says something like, "Oh, mama, this is like a dream,"
Yeah,
and it feels really kind of like almost high school comedy teenage
yeah.
boy.
It doesn't feel like Steve Trevor, does it?
Nah, he feels, at least from the comics, he's a more respectful character. I don't imagine him saying things like that.
Yeah,
And that stuck out to me in this viewing is that like he's a bit more of a almost Tony Stark-esque kind of
yeah. Pretty much.
womanizer to an extent, not completely, but there's definitely elements of that in there.
Yeah,
The way he keeps trying to kiss Wonder Woman, for example, feels obviously Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman kiss. That's that's something they eventually do. But the way he keeps trying to do it, and then she keeps fighting him off. Although her slapping him is quite a funny thing.
It is.
It does. I have to admit, Steve feels really out of character in this.
Yeah, pretty much the entire way through.
Yeah, which is a shame because it's.
Yeah, I mean, actually, there's probably a handful of scenes where he feels in character, but for the most part.
Oh yeah, I mean, when that stuff's not been brought up, sure.
Yeah.
But it almost feels like, and then Wonder Woman, on the other side of that, gets very kind of. She starts giving these speeches about how man is this, man is that, and you're a bunch of vicious, sexist pigs and all that kind of. She didn't say those words, but like, she goes on these speeches, and then Steve has to defend it, because oh, you Amazons aren't so perfect either, and so on, and all of it is very heavy-handed, and I'd forgotten. Like, I didn't remember it being this kind of surface level.
Yeah, not me either.
And as a result, it kind of like, alright. What does still work though, and what I do like, some of the action's quite good.
Yeah.
There's some stuff where they get kind of violent. I mean, it's PG-13, so they don't want to be too violent, so they disguise it in various ways, but it's still, the impact of the hits and the blades cutting and things like that are still kind of there.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I like, early on, there's a battle, sort of in the flashback of like how Themyscira came to be, and all the Amazons are fighting various monsters and whatnot, and soldiers. There's a decapitation at one point, and it goes to sort of a silhouette kind of thing,
Yeah.
and you get like a proper like head sliding off the body kind of thing, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty vicious, even though, like you say, it's still technically PG-13 just because it's the silhouette, but it's effective.
That's how you get around it.
It is. And you mentioned that bit at the start with the Amazons and how Themyscira came to be, and it's something else that I'd forgotten, just how this movie is about the Amazons as a whole rather than just Wonder Woman. Like they're quite present throughout.
Yeah, which is a little bit. Actually, I didn't have a problem with that necessarily, even though like right now in the comics I'm accustomed to no one but Diana leaving Themyscira, so it was kind of weird when that happens in this. Yeah. The thing that really stuck out to me though is that Ares is more. He's more of a typical villain in this, where he's talking, he's giving monologues, he's this presence. Whereas I feel like Ares in the comics for me works better when he's talked about. He's like this. He's more of a figure who shows up, and when he shows up, he doesn't say much. He's like menacing, kind of thing. Whereas here he just feels like a sort of, and he's not bad actually. I don't mean to make it sound like he is bad, because he's fine, but he is more of a typical sort of villain who's got a master plan that he's going through.
Yeah, I think the most interesting with Ares was right at the start when he was in the prison.
Yeah. He didn't feel that imposing. He just felt like sort of like movie bad guy 101.
Yeah, pretty much.
Again, that's kind of a shame. So I guess the ultimate thing I'm saying with this is there's good things about it. I think Wonder Woman's got some good action moments. The stuff in Themyscira is pretty decent, pretty good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hold up as much as I thought it did. Because of these problems we're bringing up. Steve being out of character, the battle of the sexes stuff being very sort of surface level and not being subtle, not being. Yeah,
that's the thing. There's just better ways of tackling it, like most of the comics with Wonder Woman, basically.
Or even the fact that Etta in this is basically just a secretary who really wants to have sex with Steve.
Yeah.
Which is completely not Etta.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Some of the creative choices.
Do you know what I think it is? I think when this came out originally, I think it was before I'd read much Wonder Woman, so none of these things actually came up to me as, oh, this is things that they're not doing properly, or this character's out of character, or this person's out of character. So, but this time I'm coming in with actual knowledge. I'm coming in with a more experienced hand, with some Wonder Woman experience, and I'm noticing things and going, oh, that doesn't feel quite right. Oh, wait, that doesn't feel quite right either. Oh, what about that? And this is all the time Cheetah gets? What? What are you doing?
Well, to be fair, there's some stuff like Cheetah. There's like, okay, there's some sequel bait that clearly this movie never did well enough.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. It was basically, they did this one, they did a Green Lantern movie, and then it seemed like after that, everything was either Batman, Superman, or Justice League, or Superman, Batman.
I'm pretty sure there was 2 Green Lantern ones.
Oh, there was, but that came a fair bit later. But like generally speaking, though, 90% of what they were pumping out after this and the Green Lantern one were Batman, Superman, Batman, Superman, Justice League, because
yeah,
they could put those
they
two on
sold,
the cover,
didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a shame. Obviously, we're at least approaching a time now where, because other characters are getting movies, other characters have got TV shows. I'm actually shocked there's not been more Flash and like Green Arrow animated movies at this point, just because the shows are quite popular.
Yeah, I think part of that maybe is because they think, oh, the shows are on, so we don't need them at the minute.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
After the shows finish, it's like, okay, they've got the recognition in the general populace now that they can do them.
It was disappointing at the time though, because I think for me at least, the big thing with these animated movies, what was exciting was that, oh, right, okay, we never get anything, at least, up until that point. Now it's a different world because we have these TV shows and we have movies coming out. But at the time, Batman and Superman were the only DC characters who ever got movies or TV shows.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there was a Wonder Woman one in the 70s, but like that had been 40 years ago at that point. So now it's like, oh, these animated movies should give me stories about characters that we've not seen on screen before. So I want Wonder Woman, I want Green Lantern, I want Flash, I want Teen Titans, I want yada yada yada.
Yeah, and then, this was, on that point, this is one of the earlier ones in this world that it wasn't a straight adaptation of a story. Where, a lot of them at that point were, this is this story, this is this arc. Whereas this was, okay, the general, it's kind of the origin from the Perez stuff, but it did its own thing as well.
Yeah, it basically did it like the Batman Begins did it, or like Superman the movie did it, where they took parts of what they liked from various origins, put in a little bit of their own stuff, and we sort of went from there. But it's fine. Some of the Wonder Woman's fish out of water stuff is fun. Like there's a sort of alleyway fight where they try to get mugged. Like there's some guys trying to mug her and Steve, and
she tries to get mugged.
You know what I meant. Like, she fights back, and there's some fun stuff like that. And but as always with these movies, because they're only 75 minutes long, they're very punchy, almost to a fault. Where there's no time to breathe for some things, and that said, it's still pretty strong. Like I still had a good time.
Oh, definitely. I still think it was good. It was just, I think I'm a little underwhelmed because I had higher expectations from memory, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, because I think it's got a solid script. Everything kind of works together. Everything builds up. Everything's pay off. There's like jokes that start or set up early on and pay off later. There's like character connections that set up and get paid off later. It does a good job of making us care about a couple of characters who do have like untimely demises. It neatly makes us care just a little bit about a character before something bad happens to them. So it does that quite well.
Yeah.
And the animation's pretty decent. It's not went the full kind of we're trying to look like an anime thing yet. It's still more traditional 2D animation in this one, which I prefer.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think the action especially does look very good. Like that opening sequence in the past is fantastic.
That scene's good. Alleyway fight's good. The invisible jet flying around's good. But that's one thing they probably use like some CGI to like make it look cool because it's like see through. And I'm cool with that. Like that's fine because it should look like it's like an amazing thing in the world. So it fits.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's cool. So I'll give a spoiler warning just so we can not have to hold back, just in case there is anything we want to bring up now in terms of where the plot goes. So spoilers from this point on for the Wonder Woman animated movie. So I like the "oh crap" payoff. Like she gives Steve shit for saying "oh crap." Watch that your language and all that. And in fact, that was something I thought was handled really well throughout. Was the lasso of truth and just the fun little moments of when that was wrapped around someone. It was wrapped around Steve and. Like after
it was like when he was resting his foot on it.
Yeah, and it was after that scene though when they first got him tied up and they're like, "Oh, what does oh crap mean?" So that's another word for excrement. It's like, "Oh, what else? What other filth could go in through your head?" And he immediately just comes out with, "Oh, your daughter's got a great rack."
Yeah, my one problem with the oh crap thing was that was out. It was she used it in a different context to how she learned it. Because when Steve says it, he doesn't say "oh crap." He says "that's a load of crap." As like, "Oh no, that's a load of bull," sort of thing is what he says at the start.
No, but he uses it again. He uses it twice.
Does he use it again? But okay.
He says "oh crap" the second time.
Ah, right. Okay, then. I was really confused. I was like, when did she get that context?
Oh no, because he says it twice. He says it once it starts. Once in the middle. So it's when he's trying to get her drunk. Or is it in the hospital? I can't remember. But he says it again, and she says, "watch your language."
Yeah, that the first one's the one that really sticks out because that's that's the whole conversation about it.
Yeah. Now, it's a running thing through it, which is why I like the payoff when she finally just says it herself. Because not only does she hear at the start, she specifically tells him not to do it halfway through the movie. Yeah. So it pays off quite well, I thought.
Do you know the thing that I really liked in terms of payoff? It's a smaller thing, but you're talking about that decapitation at the start, which was, I believe that was Ares' son. That was the one that was getting decapitated.
Yeah.
When they take out Ares himself, the movement and the animation's the exact same.
Actually, do you know what I liked? Speaking of decapitations, was it one? I think it's Wonder Woman. She's got the lasso around one of the flying monster things at the end, and it's flying up the side of the building, and she throws up something and decapitates it.
It's a tiara.
Yeah, it's as he's flying, then she jumps up and lands on the top of the building. It was a pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Some fun action stuff. Is I guess what I'm saying. I've said that a few times, but there's just some examples of that. One moment I really liked, even though it was a bit over the top, is in the alleyway when they're getting mugged. She throws one of the muggers, and he lands on a dumpster and bounces off and lands.
His back definitely snapped when he landed on that.
Yeah. And then I thought it went a bit too far though, because it's when Steve and Diana are sneaking in to find where Ares is, and there's guards, and it's not actually Diana, it's Steve. Steve comes up and just he goes like that and snaps a guy's neck and just drags him out. I'm like, just choke him out. And I think it was maybe wanting us to think it was just a choke out, but it looked like a neck snap. The way he just sort of went like that, and it was like,
I'm pretty sure it was a neck snap.
That's a bit far.
Steve's a soldier. He doesn't take unnecessary risks.
It's a bit far. It just seems a bit excessive.
Fair, they are guarding the entrance to the Greek underworld.
It went straight to neck snap. They didn't try to just gas them or something.
I don't know. Diana's a warrior as well. She probably had no problems with this.
It's poor planning, that's all I'm saying. Oh yeah, no problems with this. Oh, man's world is vicious and they're all killing each other and they're all awful.
Yeah.
I have no problem with stabbing and maiming people. But hypocritical.
She is a bit hypocritical in that sense. I mean, she goes around with a sword.
Dear. So that was pretty much it. The plot's pretty straightforward. Any other moments or stuff you want to talk about?
I got a good laugh when she was teaching the little girl about the sword fighting.
Ah, yeah, and she gives her proper combat tactics.
Yeah, and Steve just comes up and is like, yeah, good job teaching her how to go and decimate all her friends.
Yeah, I wonder what other sequel stuff they had planned, because obviously the Cheetah little tag at the end where she people know she's Wonder Woman and Cheetah just shows up and we end in a sort of punch of her. I'm also thinking maybe they had plans for Artemis going down the line, because they'd set her up. They cast Rosario Dawson. I feel like that was she's going to be important later, maybe kind of.
Yeah, quite possibly.
They set up a rivalry between them.
They also hinted at maybe some stuff with Hades.
Yeah. They had Hades. Obviously, he's in the movie. It's all over plot.
Yeah, but he has that ending bit.
Yeah.
So it feels like they had a couple of ideas for sequels in general that I'm sad didn't materialize.
It could have been a trilogy. It could have been movie 2 is mainly Cheetah.
Yeah.
Then movie 3, Artemis finally becomes a proper rival, and Hades comes into it because it's back to being about the gods and stuff.
Yeah, and it would make sense. Obviously, we saw at the end Hades had Ares under his control now that he was dead, and you can bring back Ares as a minion of Hades. Then
that was maybe actually another missed opportunity. So Ares gets his power back because he gets Hades to pull off his sort of basically dampeners. He's god dampeners. So he has power, because he's a god of war. He makes people want to conflict, and this was stopping him from doing that. He gets his power back, and we cut. In the final conflict, we see the president of the US is attack Themyscira, and he sends a nuke, and that's part of the sort of sub fight. Is Steve flies off in the plane to stop the nuke, which is fine. It's a fine little subplot, but I almost think it was a wasted opportunity not to have more of this, have more of Ares infecting people and making them want to go to war and cause more conflict. I feel like that you could almost have had that really early on in the movie and have the tensions building on the mainland amongst people and see the effects of it. It feels like just the president specifically in one little bit during the final fight felt a bit of a...
Yeah, I get you. This is a case where I think it's the 75-minute runtime. They've got to keep it short, and what we see is just in the context of Ares getting power, not actually doing any of the influencing. We don't really get to that. We get that he's done it, but we don't get to experience it.
What I almost feel like the first movie, like with Ares, should be just about him like getting his army. Like, don't get his power back, just get his army so he can fight, and we can have basically the same ending. And then the third movie in a trilogy, say, would be when he gets his power back. So the third movie, we can start with him already having it, and maybe it's a mystery. We don't know what's going on. We just see the effects of it, and then like it's like a big like moment at like the end of Act 1 or even Act 2 where you go, wait a minute, this is Ares. Like, you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of potential that you could do with that.
There is.
And I feel like it was they kind of, and it's a really fun movie, but it does suffer from, let's make a very typical superhero movie kind of feel to it.
It is, but do you want to know something sad? Mm-hmm. I feel like I'll still probably enjoy this more than I will the new one.
I'm not willing to say that.
I'm just being cynical at this point.
I know you're being cynical. I'm not willing to say that because I feel like Justice League, I will be as cynical as you could possibly imagine on, because the name Zack Snyder is attached to it. But you know what? Wonder Woman, I am going in with a complete, even-minded slate. I'm just going to...
And no, I appreciate that, and that's fair. But I had that attitude to Suicide Squad because, oh look, no Zack Snyder attached to this one.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
And then we saw how that went.
But
so,
here's the thing, though. We can't judge Patty Jenkins on David Ayer.
We cannot. But
So
I'm not judging either of the directors. I'm judging it just on the studio interference at this stage.
possibly. But with a bit of luck, this will be the first one that doesn't have studio interference, and we might get a good movie out of it.
Oh, it'll be a goddamn miracle.
Because if nothing else, the action in the trailers looks pretty good.
It does, actually. I think the trailers look all right. But the problem, I thought the Suicide Squad trailers looked all right as well. So
I was mixed on them. I was concerned. And BVS's trailers weren't great either, so...
no, they were definitely the worst trailers.
I think Wonder Woman's had the best trailers since Man of Steel. Because Man of Steel had good trailers.
Man of Steel had
Say
excellent
what you
trailers.
want about the movie. Some of those trailers for Man of Steel were fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
They set me up for an excellent movie.
Some of those trailers are just... no, those trailers are better than the film.
They are.
Just,
Cat's
yeah,
got-
that is a fact as far as I'm concerned.
So obviously, I'm hopeful the new Wonder Woman movie is good. Part of it is bittersweet because it has to be connected to this Batman and Superman that I already hate with a fiery passion. But
It gets away with it a little bit more being in the past.
it does. It'll feel mostly separate. Obviously, I'm expecting some bookend scenes in the present day. Like,
Yeah.
maybe she's sitting with Bruce and she's like, "Hey, do you want to hear about how I came to man's world?" He's like, "Yeah, all right. I've got a few hours." And she's like, "Here we go," and she tells the story.
Could be.
And then at the end, Bruce is like, "So is this Steve out the picture then?" It's like, well, he's dead. Yeah, he was in his 90s. You know, well, he would be in his 90s right now if he was still alive. He's like, "All right, just make sure you're single." Okay, and then, boom, cut.
You cut on making sure you're single.
It'd be
One hell of a cliffhanger.
It would be an improvement on the last two movies.
I cannot disagree with that.
I'll tell you what. At the very least, it'll improve upon Wonder Woman's actual appearances, because half of her appearances in Batman v Superman was about like a thumb drive with emails and like video clips. So that's how we introduced the new Justice League, was through video clips on a computer.
Yeah. Do you know what makes me most annoyed about this movie coming up, though? Because as good as some of the trailers look, that goddamn awful theme kicks in at the end, and I go, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this so much. And I just have this horrible feeling it's going to be this overriding theme in the score, and it's going to make me hate whatever's on screen at the time.
If the rest of the movie's good, it won't ruin it for me. But I do agree that the theme song that came in Batman v Superman,
I hate it that much it will ruin it for me. I hate it with a passion.
Oh god, I do highly dislike it. But here you go. The animated movie though is enjoyable, solid, not great, not exceptional. I guess is maybe more an accurate qualifier.
Yeah.
It's not exceptional. It's just a solid but standard superhero animated film, which I guess leads us to ratings. Connor, what would you rate Wonder Woman 2009 out of 10?
A nice solid 7.
I will concur that 7. I think I gave it an 8 at release. It's went down a little bit.
I did too, yeah.
For the reasons we've mentioned, but I am going to strangle my cat. He's behind the monitor just faffing about and moving things around. He's knocking things down. It's just all sorts of chaos. There's his paw. He's one of his back paws is coming through under the monitor now and just sort of staring at me.
It's not a mild fuzz thing without one of the cats attacking.
It's not. So there you go. So that's our thoughts on the 2009 Wonder Woman. Let us know what you think of the film in the comments below. We did launch a Patreon recently. In fact, you may very well be watching this a week early because Patreon gets Influx episodes a week in advance of the rest of the public. So if you want to check out the Patreon stuff, go over to patreon.com/MildFuzzTV. You can check that out and some of the other bonuses that are available. No. Otherwise, like, subscribe, all that stuff. All of it helps. We appreciate all of it. Get us on Twitter at @mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters, I'm at Wibble89, Connor's at ConnorRyan94. But that's us, guys. So thanks very much for watching. I almost said the wrong outro. We'll see you next time.